everyone, today I'm going to quickly talk about all these methods of predicting ovulation, because when you're trying to conceive, obviously knowing when ovulation is a really important part of trying to have a baby, because if you can predict ovulation, then you know the best time to baby dance, and obviously that will give you a bigger chance of getting pregnant. So over here I've included a BBT thermometer. So BBT charting stands for basal body temperature charting. So BBT is taking your temperature first thing in the morning before you do anything. As soon as you wake up, you take that temperature and then you put it on a chart. There's many apps out there, but the one I use is Fertility Friend. So take your temperature and you input all the information on the app, and basically over the whole month it will give you a bit of a graph. I'll put some pictures up here to show you. It'll give you a graph, and what it does is when you've ovulated, your temperature does rise slightly, and so your graph can show that. So after a few months, although this does not predict ovulation, after a few months you can look at your charts and go, okay, so I ovulate around about cycle day 15. So then you can kind of have an idea from month to month what day you're going to ovulate. Really cheap option. These thermometers don't cost a lot. I have used a normal thermometer in the past and it worked just fine. Some of the cons of this are that you have to do it every single day. Sometimes it's hard for people waking in the night, maybe you've got children, maybe you're sick, so there are lots of variables with this one, and also interpreting your results can be a little bit hard sometimes, although the apps usually put a cover line in for you so you know when you've ovulated. Sometimes it can be inaccurate, but for me, I'd say 95% of the time it has been accurate. Moving on to these ones over here, these are OPKs, which stands for Ovulation Prediction Kit. These are really cheap. The ones you can get off eBay are just as accurate, and they are really cheap. You can get about 10 to 20, even 30 for a few dollars. And they're disposable, so you just kind of pee on them and chuck them out. What these tests do is they are looking for something called luteinizing hormone in your urine. So throughout your cycle you do already have luteinizing hormone in your system, but when you're about to ovulate, your luteinizing hormone spikes, and that's what these tests detect. They detect that spike in your luteinizing hormone. So these tests here, they are like pregnancy tests. You do the test exactly the same, but reading the results is a little bit different. So on a pregnancy test, 2 lines is pregnant. On these tests you will always usually get 2 lines. Some people it'll be barely there, but I'll be showing you some photos of my results and things. So there can always be 2 lines. So to interpret these tests, a positive result is test line is as dark as or darker than the control line. That's when you know that you have a positive. And when I have a positive, I usually test twice a day just to double check. And when you get that positive, from about 12 to 36 hours later, you know that you're going to ovulate. Price of this test is price, cheap, it's disposable, it's small, you just go and pee on it and then interpret to your results and then chuck it out, or you can keep it like I do and I kind of track them, I look at the lines. Fairly accessible for everybody really, so I really like this one. Some cons are that it does not work for everybody, especially women with PCOS. They're not meant to use these because of the hormone imbalances. I have pretty bad PCOS and I use them and they have worked perfectly fine for me, so I'm very grateful for that. The only other con is some people may have a little bit of trouble interpreting their results. Sometimes they may have a really close positive for days and days and days, and then it turns negative and it's like, well, was that my positive or not? So that is a problem for some people. For me personally, it was always pretty obvious when I had a positive, so I found these to be really good and my #1 thing for predicting ovulation. Next thing, so this is a saliva ovulation test. This is not my original one I had. The first one I had was called a Maybe Baby, and it actually looked like a lipstick and it had a light, but this is just another type. Does the same thing. Your saliva does change throughout your cycle. So this test, you get a little bit of saliva and you put it on the window here. You leave it to dry for about 15 minutes, depends, sometimes for me it took like an hour, and then you interpret your results. So what you do is you look through this. So this one here, you look up to a window where it's light and you interpret your results. The Maybe Baby I had actually had a light, so you push the little button and a light shone through it to interpret your results. So when you look through this window to see your results, you may see little pebbles, and that means that you are not in a fertile phase. If you look through the window and you see a ferning pattern, that means that you are going to be in your fertile phase, so partial ferning, and if you see a full ferning pattern, that means that you're in your fertile phase. Pros and cons of this. Well, I want to try and find a pro for this. I guess it's compact and easy to use, but The cons really are sometimes you have to wait forever for that saliva to dry, and then it won't have anything on the screen, so it hasn't detected anything, and then you have to redo it all over again. Interpreting the results is a bit ho-hum, like you'll look at it and go, oh yeah, that's kind of partial ferning. And for me, I could get ferning all through my entire cycle. That may be a PCOS thing, I really don't know, but I found this one to be really kind of tricky, and I really wouldn't be relying on this on its own, to be honest. I use this in conjunction with a couple of other products. Price-wise, it's a little, I don't know about this one in particular, but my Maybe Baby was $80 to $100, so they are a bit up there, and I think that's quite pricey for something that's I'd say is not too reliable. But it's just another option too, and if you're going to use this one, I'd really recommend choosing another product to go alongside it so you can kind of cross-reference your results. The last one I have here, this is the OvaQ Fertility Monitor. So I really like this monitor because it doesn't require anything that you chuck out. So some fertility monitors have something kind of similar to this that you insert into the machine, whereas this one, everything is reusable, so nothing gets chucked out. So this is the saliva monitor, again testing for saliva just like this one. This one tests for changes in electrolytes in your saliva, so you just plug it into the monitor. There's also a vaginal sensor. These monitors come with the vaginal sensor now, and this one was purchased at the vaginal sensors were actually sold separately. So you wake up in the morning, you put this on your tongue, and this gives you all the information. I can probably turn it on for you so you can have a look actually. So every morning you do this and it interprets your results. It gives you a number and it logs that number, and when it detects your Q peak, which is 2 high results followed by low results, that is your Q peak, and usually about 7 days after that is when you're going to be getting is when you're ovulating. So what it does is it looks at all the numbers for you, and then it fills in your little graph. So over here we've got this dark blue one, that was peak fertility. So usually you're going to ovulate the day after that one, and then it's got differing shades of blue to tell you whether you're peak, high or low fertility. Over here we've got oral sensor, which is this one, and then V for vaginal sensor, which I didn't get, if you buy these new now, it doesn't matter, they just come with them. This one here, really pricey, really pricey, $400 to buy these now. And not really something that's accessible for everybody just because of the price, which is a real shame because they are a great monitor. Hang on, Mila Rose, just a minute, darling. And I've seen kind of mixed reviews on this. A lot of people say they're absolutely amazing and fantastic, and there is a handful that I've seen that was like it just didn't work for me. But for me personally, it did work. It was pretty accurate, about, I'd say about 98%. So there was a couple of cycles where it was out by a couple of days. But the thing is, whenever I used any of these, I would use multiple at a time. So when I used this, I was also using this and this. The good thing about this monitor is everything is reusable, so you know, you buy it once and then you don't have to re-buy anything again. The other good thing about this monitor is it can be used for women with PCOS, which is a big deal because a lot of women with PCOS can't use a lot of other ovulation predicting things, but this one here is a little bit different. PKs look for a predetermined level that you've got to reach before the test turns positive, whereas this one here looks for every woman's own individual levels. So this one here, every woman takes the same test and it's got a predetermined level. This one here, I can take it and I will have different levels to the next woman who takes it, to the next woman who takes it, but it interprets your own results, which is exactly why it works for women with PCOS who have really weird cycles, long cycles. So this can be actually a cheaper option for women who have really long cycles as well and may use a lot of sticks like this. I mean, you can get them fairly cheap off eBay, but if you're going to be trying for years like some women with PCOS do, this may be a good option as well. My personal opinion, I think it's really good to use a couple of items at a time instead of just one. I really like to use these and one other of these products just because then I can cross-check and I can go, okay, so this one's saying this and this one's saying this, and oh, these are both matching, so it must be pretty accurate. So I like to use multiple products at once. I can't really choose one that I favour over the other. I'm just really not too fussed on this one, but the rest of these used all together can give you really good results. I know this was a fairly quick, I didn't want to make this video too long, so I really just kind of brushed over all the information over each of these products, but I will have the link below to all of these products, and you can always do a Google search on a lot of these as well to find out some more information, but I've just kind of given you the basics and what I think about them as well. So I hope that helped you out, guys. If you have any questions about any of these products or just predicting your ovulation in general, please leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, comment if you want to, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!